Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. We hope you still are at home and are keeping safe at home. You can find us on SABC Network. Now, that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. This week, our Twitter poll is asking you what you are searching for online. This as Google has said that there's been a surge in the number of people who are searching for home-brewed alcohol methods. They say this number's gone up by 500%. Results of that are coming up later in the program. But first, here's what's coming up tonight. Digital communities have expressed their anger at government's decision to use celebrities to educate children. We have information on 3D printed shields that will be used as face masks by health authorities. They've been printed at the University of Pretoria. And in our discussion, producer Sandile Hlangani has a conversation with Kaspersky about cybersecurity. This as there are details that cybercrime has gone up as people are working more and more from home. School is out like the rest of the country because of the lockdown that's a result of COVID-19. So government has been looking for different methods to educate children who are at home. They've decided to use celebrities as one of the methods, but digital communities are not happy, and they've expressed their dissatisfaction as a result of this.
Twitter went on an uproar last week with disgruntled users expressing their dissatisfaction with South Africa's Department of Basic Education and non-profit organization Africa Teen Geeks for using some of the country's famous faces to read educational content online in an e-learning initiative endorsed by the department. This was done under the Celebrities Are Not Teachers hashtag that trended for a number of days.
My opinion on the e-learning initiative is that the initiative is a good idea, but involving celebrities in the initiative was not a good idea. And this is for two reasons, right? I believe celebrities don't engage with educational content on a daily basis like teachers would. Case in point with Pearl Mudedie last week when she read to the grade R's to 3s, she made, errors, or she used words that the target market of pupils wouldn't have understood.
Teachers too shared that they should have been the ones leading initiatives such as this one, and they also feel that moves such as this undermine their profession.
I strongly believe that the e-learning platform by the African Teen Geeks and the Department of Education is at fault for using celebrities to teach our learners when most qualified teachers are unemployed. If they really wanted to use celebrities, why didn't they rather opt for those that have education background like Lady Zama or TD from Malaika? This is a very great initiative. The problem lies with how it was executed.
With the spotlight on them, NPO Africa Teen Geeks founder Lindiwe Matladi says this matter was blown out of proportion.
So for me, the backlash really, I feel like it really doesn't make sense because, first of all, I think the person even started their tweet initially. He wrote to us asking if we can now join the program because all he wanted was to get attention from DBE. He wanted a job. And we are not a DBE. It's not a DBE funded project. All we wanted was when the minister and the president asked for civil society and private companies to, raise their hands and assist during the time. That's what we did. To offer classes, live classes and live tutoring to children who are currently sitting at home, to assist parents who are now homeschooling teachers who don't know where to go, what to do, where to start. And that's what we did. We didn't get a tender. There's no money from government. It's our money that we raise with the support of our sponsors.
The COVID-19 pandemic has put the country's education system under a lot of pressure, leading them to heavily depend on technology to keep learners up to date with this year's curriculum. Online platforms such as the STEM Lockdown Digital School arose from this necessity.
We provide live classes provided by qualified teachers for grade R to 12. And and those classes are from 8 until 6 in the evening. And we've got about now 58 sessions that we run a day. Yesterday alone, we actually reached 11,522 kids. In our first week, we reached 16,859. Second week, it was 30,446.
Though some may say #celebrities are not teachers, some believe that this initiative is helpful.
I've been using these resources fun online to be able to further my education during this lockdown period so that whenever I come back to school, I'm not severely disadvantaged. Now, my take on the way African Teen Geeks has done this is that I believe they've done it incredibly. It's very difficult to find such a large amount of resources which cover such a large amount of experience levels online, and especially to find that online for free is insane.
There's been a shortage of protective gear that can be used by health workers. This is worldwide and not just in South Africa. So the University of Pretoria has decided that they are going to help with their 3D printing. They are printing 3D printed shields that will be used as masks by health authorities.
As government calls for all hands on deck to help in the fight against the coronavirus spread, the University of Pretoria in South Africa has responded to the country's need with a solution for protective medical gear by using cutting-edge 3D printing technology. Led by Isaac van der Walt, manager of the University of Pretoria's Digital Innovation Center, the institution is using its 3D printers to manufacture visor frames that will be used by healthcare workers involved in testing and treating patients with coronavirus.
3D printers allows us to act quickly to this demand. It's rapid prototyping, so it's not mass manufacturing, but with 3D printers we have the ability to react to this call. And I think we need to give our healthcare workers all the help they can get, So there is a shortage of masks and visors or personal protection equipment in the country. So we thought, we'd give them a fighting chance as well by providing this.
Reports on the shortage of medical gear has flooded the country's news media, some highlighting how healthcare workers in various parts of South Africa complain about having to reuse masks meant to protect them from the virus.
I don't think all hospitals have visors on demand. So we're trying to fill that gap where we can provide healthcare workers with it. What you'll see more healthcare workers in general wearing these than you would usually just in the ER room or whatever the case might be. But we're trying to just give everybody that extra layer of protection.
On Monday, April 6th, the World Health Organization voiced concerns that the wearing of medical masks by the general public could exacerbate the shortage of health workers on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic.
And if you've been missing going to Safari, well, you can still do that, but you can do it online from the comforts of your home. You can speak to guides live and they can answer your questions live too.
Welcome to the Sunrise Safari, your live safari of today. We are sitting, naughty, no. That is an interesting start to the morning. We're sitting with the herd of wildebeest who are, of course, full of beans, I believe, and essentially blocking the road. My name is Lauren. I do have aka O-Dog on camera today.
A visual, real-time African safari, unscripted and unpredictable reality TV. So expect sightings, action, even a kill. Some of the best on offer when it comes to lockdown escapism.
There's so much news, as you know, at the moment about the COVID-19 pandemic. It's very scary, it's very depressing. We're all not sure, confused. And here's an opportunity for 6 hours a day to go and connect with nature and to just relax.
It's animals galore here with the possibility of the big five sightings, from tall to small to dangerous to the harmless. And also these expert game rangers offer interactional live chats with their audience.
We got a question from Andrew wanting to know how giraffes survive the fall at birth. A question from Andrew. Now Andrew, I have never actually seen a giraffe give birth. Never seen any animals give birth.
Rusty Nail, you're asking about their diet. So for dwarf mongoose, as I've already mentioned, they're the smallest carnivores you will get out here in the lowveld. And they will, of course, eat other animals. Such a wide range of animals, from termites, even scorpions.
Food for the soul, as well as a learning experience.
Because often with elephant bulls, like with the herd, you've probably heard that it's the herd is led by the oldest, most experienced female, known as their matriarch. And then when the males get to around about 16 years of age, they get kicked out. And then they'll join up like these two we see here. They join up and they form like a little bachelor herd.
The broadcast is particularly popular among children.
It allows these kids at home now, when they're stuck at home, to be able to connect with nature and ask these questions. We found that there is a large amount of interest in this at the moment. We've seen a growth of some, I think 3 times traffic growth. Normally 75% of our audience is coming from America, but at the moment 60% is coming from South Africa. So what's happened is our South African audience has grown hugely during this lockdown.
Some of the best in lockdown entertainment.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. After the break, producer Sandile Hlangani speaks about cybersecurity. This as reports say that cybercrime has gone up as people are working more from home. It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back. Now, public spaces like this one remain deserted as people are adhering to lockdown and social distancing rules. As we work more from home, cyber criminals have also increased their activity. This is according to reports. Producer Sandile Hlangani has a conversation with Kaspersky about this one and why this is the case.
David, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
On the 25th of March, Kaspersky issued a statement and it reads, South African workers face a 10-fold increase in attacks as workforce shift to remote access. Are you able to explain to us this?
Okay, sure. Well, what we'd observed really was a massive spike in the number of attacks on networks. So what criminals were clearly doing was taking advantage of the current situation, the pandemic, and using it as a way of trying to probe networks to see whether they could get in. So, for example, they were doing things like password brute forcing. They were trying different passwords again and again and again to try to get into systems. And it was clear, really, that this spike was the result of the fact that more and more people were working remotely, and therefore they thought they would try their chances to get into systems. We've seen that number drop off because we saw a 10-fold increase. We've seen it drop off a little bit, but actually it's still well above where it was, let's say, 2 months ago.
So what are the cybersecurity issues when people work remotely, David?
Well, I think, when people are working within the corporate environment, the IT department takes care of everything that they need to worry about. They've got their laptop, there's the firewall protecting the network. When they're at home, really, they don't have all of those inbuilt protections. And therefore, it's very, very important that they think about protection. Now, if they work for a large company, which is used to people working remotely, it may well be that there's a virtual private network connection to keep things secure. It may well be that the laptop is remotely managed. But in many cases, with small and medium-sized businesses in particular, there isn't that protection. And certainly if people are, using their own devices for leisure or for keeping in touch with family and friends, then they need to think about security.
So this, of course, is new to many of us, including our organizations. Do you think most organizations were prepared for this sudden shift?
No, I don't think so. I think, let's face it, none of us were very prepared for this. This is an event which typically is going to take place maybe once in 100 years. So we've got the healthcare issue, and that's a big issue to deal with. On top of that, of course, we've got our increasing dependence on technology. And while, companies, as I say, particularly large companies, are used to handling people working remotely, nobody was used to the idea of an entire workforce having to work remotely. And so while businesses are thinking about what do we do if we lose access to systems, what do we do if we lose access to data, what do we do if there's a fire or some physical issue that affects the company, really having to deal with business during a pandemic is something really which I don't think businesses were fully up to speed on. I think many of them have coped very well, and clearly that's why we've seen a drop-off in the number of attacks once things got underway. But nevertheless, it's been a new experience, I think, for everybody.
When I was doing my research on the topic, I came across an article warning people of COVID-19 scams. Are there any scams that we should look out for?
Oh, definitely. I mean, on the one hand, we've seen cyber criminals delivering malicious code, malware, using COVID-19 as a cover. We've seen them distributed, for example, as fake apps. So people now are focused on using group meeting apps, and they're one example of the apps that they've been using. They've been masquerading as legitimate apps to get us to install malware. On the other side, we've seen them just trying to scam us. So they're sending emails pretending to be from, let's say, the World Health Organization or some other agency, and in some cases even asking for Bitcoin donations. So I think that's why I said earlier, if you get information that looks like it might be interesting, avoid responding to that email message or that tweet or that Facebook message or anything else, and actually go directly to the source yourself. That's the safe way to try and find information.
So just lastly, if these policies of social distancing are going to continue for a while, how are they going to measure the employees' productivity when it comes to employers?
Well, I think good managers at the end of the day will ensure that they're in regular contact with their staff anyway. And I think part of this is a management issue of making sure, getting feedback and providing feedback to staff and measuring in that sense, how things are, how staff are responding, how productive they are. That's very important. I think also, understandably, businesses are turning more and more to group meeting applications as a way of really keeping their staff together and A, informing them of developments, and B, also getting their views back as well. So, things like Zoom, things like Microsoft Teams have become really very important as the sort of glue to hold a workforce together. So it's really a question of using the technology that's available, checking, of course, the security and privacy settings to make sure that they're safe to use, but also, it's a management issue of management keeping in touch with staff and gauging what the output of staff is. And I think at the end of the day, providing help to staff and trusting actually that they're going to be productive. At the end of the day, we've put staff in place because there's a level of trust there. And we have to to work on that basis and just provide the tools that staff need to be productive.
David M., thank you so much for making time to join us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
That was David M. from Case Pasquet. For now, we are going to be taking an ad break. We'll see after the break.
News Network at SABC.co.za on email. Welcome back. Here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the technology space.
Apple took the wraps off its cheapest iPhone ever, with the world gripped by the first economic recession since the financial crisis. The budget-friendly iPhone SE comes with $399 price tag. That's $50 less than the cheapest April model out there, the soon-to-be-retired iPhone 8. By dropping the price, Apple hopes it can lure away fans of cheaper but feature-rich models made by Samsung. While the SE will have wireless charging and high-end camera, it can't connect to the next generation 5G wireless technology. It's giving free 1-year access to Apple TV Plus with the purchase of the low-budget phone, just like it does with its higher-priced models. With many of Apple's retail stores closed around the world, online orders for the iPhone SE will go live this week. A team of Thai researchers and a non-profit initiative company joined forces to create a machine that sterilizes protective face masks for medical staff. Using UVC light technology, the machines kill the novel coronavirus protein and bacteria, enabling medical staff to reuse masks. COVID-19 Fight Project delivered its first batch of mask sterilizers to fight the coronavirus in Thailand.
รังสี UVC ด้วยความยาวคลื่นที่เราใช้คือ 256 นาโนเมตร นะครับ เป็นความยาวคลื่นที่เหมาะสมกับทำลายโปรตีนของตัวไวรัสนะครับ แล้วก็ตัวแบคทีเรียด้วย เราใช้ปริมาณที่เราศึกษามาแล้วว่าทำแค่ 5 นาทีบนหน้ากากที่สามารถสัมผัสรังสีได้ทั่วถึงในรูปแบบหน้ากากที่เป็นโดมหรือรูปแบบที่ไม่ซับซ้อนไม่มีเหลือบเงา
SOS COVID-19 Fight Project is planning to distribute the machines to both public and private hospitals for free. More than 300 hospitals have already registered. Several cellular broadcasting towers across the Netherlands have been damaged by arson or sabotage by opponents of a rollout of a new 5G network. The Telegraph said there have been 4 incidents in the past week, citing the director of the Moment Foundation, an industry group that oversees placement of cell towers in the country. The Telegraph reported that arsonists had left an anti-5G slogan spray-painted at the scene of one attack. Some groups in the Netherlands have been opposed to the introduction of 5G for some time, mostly over concerns that radio waves could damage human health. Major telecommunications providers in the Netherlands are in a testing phase with 5G and have not yet begun a nationwide rollout.
At 19% are people who say they're also searching for alcohol online. There's 27% of people who say they are searching for education or work assistance. At 13% are people who say they are looking for home workouts. That number is in last place, which is in contrast to what we see on social media platforms as people are sharing a lot of their workout videos. And in first place are people who say they are searching for other things. That number is at 41%. That's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. From me, Spumele Lizondi, and the rest of the network team, stay home and stay safe. Bye-bye.